I'd like to call the Lancaster Central School District Board of Education meeting to order. Could we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain seated for a moment of silent reflection? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tonight we remain standing for Sandra Ratke, a math teacher from 1969 through 1998, who passed away on April 19th. Thank you, everyone. So we do have a slight adjustment we'd like to make. Could I have a motion to amend our presentations from none to one small, brief presentation?
So moved. Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? So moved. And are they here?
We're ready. Why doesn't the board go out in the front right there?
When Jay starts introducing them. Yep. And we're gonna give one out each. So just put the box down and then hand it out. Mr. Uteg, you can give that to him. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm Brian Wild, your athletic director. Behind me is our 2017 Lancaster Unified Basketball team. We just finished our first game at Newfane. We battled to the end. We lost 38-29, but it was a historical event and something that these student athletes will never forget the rest of their life, as well as myself and as well as Coach Jasker. We just have a couple thank yous. I want to thank the Board of Education, Dr. Valley, all the administration, and Mr. Jasker and Bernie Mosier and other teachers and staff that have given the opportunity to these student athletes. Over 20 student athletes have the opportunity to represent Lancaster, and some of them to represent a team in Lancaster for the first time ever. So I want to just thank you, and we have something small for each of you. And we have our next game, our first home game ever, is this Wednesday for everybody in attendance at 5 p.m. in the Lancaster Java Gym versus Clarence. Ironic, one of our rivals across. But we have just a small thank you for each of you and a little something. So Coach Jasker is our coach. Jason Jasker is going to read off the names. He's going to introduce the team. Mention the name. If you could just raise your name or mention raise your name.
Follow all the way down. All right, our 2017 Unified Basketball team. We have Maria Wild, Raylan Snyder, Lexi Kaplan, Alex Tiesendorf, Anthony Bucci, Garrett Jesuits, Maria Pisani, Dale Cornelius, Cameron Krasminski, Izzy Licata, Melanie Gleason, Sandra Lee Gleason, Tanea Cheney, Emily Milton, Chloe Jowdy, Chelsea Pembleton, Rachel Stroline, Ben Nowak, Matthew Sirianni, Emily Wolverecki, and the birthday boy, Nick Starr. Yeah!
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
got plenty of room, kid. There's not room, just drag this one back. Take it on down. Rolling here, let's roll.
Good job, guys. Good job.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Oh, Wednesday.
Yeah, that was great. Wow. It seems as though the fun has left the auditorium. That was the most fun we've had at a Board of Education meeting in quite some time.
Agreed.
Someone else on? Okay, we have no other presentations. 5.0 correspondence. Nothing to speak of. Did anyone receive any correspondence? 6.0 approval of minutes. 6.1, could I have a motion to accept the regular session minutes from April 18th?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? So moved. 7.0 items from staff organizations. Anyone from the Lancaster Administrative and Supervisory Association?
Yes, thank you so much for such a well-balanced budget. We appreciate all the effort that went in from all the district office staff and Board of Ed so that we can hopefully keep our programming going. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Mrs. Adamick. Anyone from the Lancaster Central Teachers Association?
Like I echo Mrs. Adamack's statements, thank you for returning a responsible budget, appreciate all the hard work that's put into it. And the LCTA will be doing everything within our power, mailings and home bags to help the budget.
Thank you, Mr. Kirsch. Anyone from the Lancaster Association of Service Personnel? Thank you. And anyone from the Lancaster Association of Substitute Teachers? Okay, thank you. 8.0 is board reports. Anyone from the board have anything they'd like to report on?
I do, and it's lengthy. I'll do my best to go quickly. It's been a long day. Last Friday, I sent the board an advocacy alert email. I told you that I would be speaking on it this evening, so I will go through it quickly. One of the first things I wanted to bring to your attention is the ESSA plan. The State Ed Department is holding public meetings to receive feedback on the draft of the Every Student Succeeds Act. This afternoon, about an hour or two before this meeting, I emailed you. You didn't need it for the meeting, but it's to have for after this meeting, the link to the plan. I have one copy of it here. It's about 65 pages long. Enjoy that. The commissioner and her little group is going to be going around to the public and asking their opinion, which I really love and appreciate that she is taking the board members, teachers, students, parents' opinions into account. And she will be coming to the Buffalo area, or they will be coming to the Buffalo area. I'm not quite sure that she will be there. On June 8th from 6 to 8:30 at BOCES. I will encourage all of you, or as many of you as we can, to attend. I will be there. to voice your opinions and thoughts, concerns on the plan. Obviously, you would want to brief it first before going. That's why I sent it to you now. So the link is in your email. Just if you would take a look at that, and if you could make that June 8th meeting, that would be great. Again, it's at BOCES, so all of that's in your email. Another part of that first email I sent you on Friday was the Medicare letter that was sent to Congress. And as you know, as part of my work with the legislative team, we do a lot of work with our congressmen and so on. And one of the big things that was sent out this week, a letter was sent from the National School Board Association, of which Lancaster doesn't belong to necessarily, but we still support. And this letter was written on behalf with 59 other educational organizations to Congress. The newest thing is a letter written because of our new health care. Now, I don't know if you're keeping up with all the changes in politics. It's a nightmare to do so, but the new health care, American, and I got it right here, hold on a second, I have 67 pages of notes, is now going to be cutting Medicare to schools, Medicaid to schools. And the problem with this is one of the things that the legislative team was fighting for was the funding for special ed programs and unmandated funds. You know, they put these mandates on us and then they don't pay us to do them. And here's another one. So now they're going to basically tell us that Medicaid is not, schools will not be covered with Medicaid, which is a major issue. And one of the key points I just want to point out to you, a consequence. Fewer health services, cuts to general education because we're going to have to pull funds from general education to cover these mandates through IDEA, higher taxes, job losses, fewer critical supplies. It's in that email that I sent you. You can read it for yourself because it's like 4 pages long and I don't want to go through the whole thing, but that's a big deal. So if you would take a minute and look at that in that email as well. That's just another one of those big things that your legislative team is working on. Okay. One more thing, as far as that email. The resolution toolkit. I have made copies for you all. If you would take one of these and pass it down. Now, we do not typically make a resolution as a board, but I think it's something we may want to consider, especially in light of new leadership in this country and so on. We have the power to make resolutions of things that we aren't happy with or something we want to change, and we don't take advantage of that. We may not want to, we may want to, we may not know how to. I think that has been our major hiccup is what do we do, how do we do it, where do we start? So I took it upon myself to copy this for you, and I want you to, if you would please, consider submitting a resolution of something that you're not happy with or something you think needs to be changed when it comes to a bylaw, an amendment, anything. There's an example there on the back. For example, they give you is the new charter school, I believe it is, the tax credit for educational voucher system or parochial schools. That's just an example of what a resolution looks like. And then the back page is the form filled out. It's really quite simple, but this might be something that our administration, Dr. Valley, maybe could help us work on. This may be something we don't want to do. It's just something I want you to think about. If it is something you want to do, it is due by July 10th. We do have to have a contact person. I will be happy to volunteer for that. And that person would have to be available on July 24th for the resolution committee meeting. I will make myself available if in fact you would like to move forward with this initiative. I think it's a great idea. We just would need to come up with an idea.
So, just so that I understand, these resolutions are the ones that would go to the NYSBA convention?
Yes.
And I have sat through those meetings, and there's a lot of good ideas, and what results from those is that we send those resolutions to the legislators.
Right.
And they can either act upon it or not, but what you're doing is stating a strong opinion, and then you get feedback and votes as to the validity of the resolution from representatives from across the state.
Right.
So
And-
this
and-
is just the legwork as to how to go about doing that.
Right, and those concerns would be concerns that involve all schools throughout New York State. So it's not just a Lancaster problem, it's a New York State education problem or concern. So it's just a way for Lancaster to, make a positive change in education for all schools across the state.
I have seen resolutions that detail, like for instance, the last time I sat at the meeting, it was to have stricter scrutiny of college preparatory schools for teachers. And people advocate for it, they oppose it. Do you have something specific in mind that you?
I don't. I just got this email, and I want to think about it. That's why I gave it to you now. I mean, we do have a couple weeks, not much time. Right now, it's a crazy time of year I know the three of us with the end of the school year, so the timing's not wonderful, but I would like to give it some thought. I do like the example they gave, especially in light of the whole voucher system and so on. Obviously, that one's going to be, I guarantee that's going to be on the table in the next round of resolutions, but I thought maybe we could brainstorm, put our heads together, maybe get some feedback from the current administration and see. Like I said, this may be something we want to do, something to think about. I know that getting started is the hard part, and having these samples and that form really made it simple. It's now just coming up with a topic. Something to think about. Okay. Moving along here. Next, on Sunday, Mother's Day, lucky me, I get to leave to head to Albany. And I am heading to Albany actually for a really great thing. I have been chosen to attend the Commissioners' Roundtable, which means that myself, along with 13 other board members from across the state, will be given the opportunity to sit with the commissioner to discuss things like teacher shortages in New York State, as well as this lovely 64-page document on the ESSA plan. So I have some studying to do prior to this. I'm actually really excited about it. Anytime you can get the commissioner's direct attention in a small group like that is really, really a great opportunity, especially for me being a teacher, let alone a board member. So I'm really excited to go, and I will report back in detail in the June meeting exactly how that went. Okay, almost done. Hang in there. There are no more scheduled legislative team meetings for the remainder of this school year, but the legislative members from each local district will be attending local fundraisers for our reps over the summer. They have many fundraisers, barbecues, picnics, and those kind of things. So we will be attending on our own, keep our face in their face kind of thing, kind of continued presence, constantly talking to them about the issues when they're most attentive, when they want our money. So we will be a constant presence all summer long. So our work continues. The Academy of Finance May meeting was rescheduled to June 6th at 7 a.m. at the high school, so there was no May meeting to report at. However, I do have some great news, and I'm sorry, Dr. Valley, if I'm stealing your thunder here, but I do have some great news to share. The Academy of Finance has reached the distinguished status for the 7th straight year. And what does this mean exactly? Well, it is the highest possible ranking. And out of 675 academies in 36 states, only 32 have reached the distinguished status for 2016-17, which is pretty impressive. Only 3 other academies have reached distinguished repeated 7 times, which is pretty impressive, and all of those are in Florida. And no other school in Western New York has reached this status except Clarence, they just hit it this year, so congratulations to them. But I'd like to congratulate the Academy, Mr. Scott Dixon, the faculty and staff, and the Advisory Board of Academy of Finance. It's an amazing academy. I'm very proud to be part of that board as well. And my last thing was I was going to talk about the unified basketball team, but they were here, they made their presence, and remind you all that the game is Wednesday at 5 o'clock. I will be there with my new shirt, and I'm really, really excited. As a special ed teacher, I strongly support. I'm totally excited about this program, and I can't wait to be there on Wednesday, so excellent. That's it for me. I'm sorry, I'm done.
So, a couple things. First of all, are you, the meeting tomorrow morning for the Academy of Finance, is that the one that was scheduled?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm glad I'm not getting up earlier than I normally do to show up to a meeting that was canceled. Thank you. And secondly, I mean, I'd like to, as I did via email, congratulate you on your selection to that committee. I think it's a good thing. I think, as you stated, having the commissioner's attention. I spoke with her briefly when she came here. I think she's very, she's a good listener, and I think, you know, Mrs. Christopher, I think you do a good job advocating for teachers, as you always have, and ultimately that means you're advocating for students and for public education. So congratulations, and I look forward to hearing what you find out.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any board reports? You put your shirts on already?
Yes,
I didn't even see that. Go ahead, Bill.
A couple quick things. I know I won't take up too much time. I know we're right in the middle of the fantastic musical programs that are taking place throughout the district. I know there's one going on right now at William Street. So if you go online, you can see the schedule. You know, here in a lot of the elementary buildings starting in the spring. So feel free to take care of that or take advantage of that as well. Very fantastic musical programs, as we are very well aware. So I also had the opportunity to attend the Me and My Guy dance. I know some others did in this room as well. And I want to give kudos to the girls lacrosse team, as well as Julie Buccieri and the fantastic program that they had on. My only regret was that I wore a few too many layers, but we snuck out a little early and you know, figured it out by going to Dairy Queen early. So, but it was a well-attended event, and it obviously benefits the LEAF program. So, a good time had by many, and as my daughter said to me on the way out, he said, "You didn't dance as much as we anticipated." So, I think I have to make that up next year. So, but thank you to those people as well.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, it was.
No, you dance.
Oh no, I know you wouldn't mind. I was a city school kid, so I learned a little bit along the way. So.
Anyone else have anything they'd like to add? Okay. 9.0, Superintendent's Administrative Report, Dr. Valley.
Yeah, a couple of things have been stolen, but that's all right. I'll just say one thing because everyone's heard me speak enough tonight, and that is that the Unified Basketball program started and with the Board of Education and the support of the Board of Education. I just want to thank them so much for that opportunity. What a great thing it's going to be. It fits Lancaster perfectly, and it was great to have that work out tonight. I didn't know if it was going to, given the number of things that we had, but thanks for allowing it to be on your agenda, and what a great opportunity for those young people. So thank you very much.
May I interrupt you a second?
Sure.
Everyone keeps thanking the board for that. That was a no-brainer. That was like the best thing we've done all year.
Good stuff. Absolutely.
So I don't
We like
mean to interrupt you,
no-brainers.
but, like, I feel bad being thanked for that because that was the best thing we've done all year.
Yep.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, 10.0, old business. Does anyone have any old business they'd like to discuss? Okay, 11.0, new business. 11.1, personnel items. 11.1.1, could I have a motion to accept the personnel changes?
So moved. Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? So moved. 11.2, education items. 11.2.1, could I have a motion to accept the Committee on Special Education's report?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? So moved. 11.2.2, could I have a motion to accept the Committee on Preschool Special Education's report?
So moved.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? So moved. 12.0, business and financial items. 12.1, could I have a motion to accept the financial items?
So moved. Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? So moved. 12.2, policy adoption 5661. Could I have a motion, the wellness policy? Could I have a motion to accept that policy? Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? So moved. 12.3 is a policy adoption 7530, child abuse and maltreatment. Could I have a motion to accept that?
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? So moved. 12.4 and 12.5 are for information only. Second policy reading of 7222, diploma or credential options for students with disabilities. And 12.5 is first policy reading for 7521, students with life-threatening health conditions. 12.6, could I have a motion to accept a contract with the district and Kenny Geotechnical Engineering Services, which is the company that is doing the Johnny Shuley parking lot.
So moved.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? So moved. 12.7 is a contract with Bolton Land Surveying, who's doing the surveying for the Johnny Shuley parking lot. Could I have a motion to accept that contract?
So moved.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? So moved. 12.8 is our food service operating report for March of 2017. Could I have a motion to accept the report?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? So moved. 12.9, if I could, 12.9, 12.10, 11, 12, and 13 are all AIA contracts. Could I have a motion to accept those as a group? Any questions or comments about any of those individually? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So moved. Public hearing tonight, we have one person signed up, Mr. Foley.
Rick Foley, 40 Deer Path. In August of last year, I approached the board and spoke about the reserves and the state audit. And I'd like to follow up with some additional thoughts on that issue. In 2007, the district established a bus purchase reserve fund. 2008, the district established a capital projects reserve fund. In 2009, the district established a retirement contribution reserve fund. I was on the board during all those 3 years, and I was in favor of all those reserves. Since then, the district has added 3 more reserves, and now we have a total of 10 reserve funds. Now, I totally am in favor of reserve funds. I believe reserve funds is an excellent financial tool that can be used to lessen the impact of unexpected and expected spikes in expenditures and reductions in state aid. The real question is, how much is too much? It's a very subjective thing. State auditors feel that we have too much, $18 million worth. In 2009, there was an audit done by the state as well, and I was on the board at that time. And back then, we had 11,000. They claimed we had 11,000 in excess reserves. And I remember we actually met with the 2 auditors who conducted the audit, and the board had a work session at the end of one of the meetings, right after this audit was done. And it was a good discussion, and we asked a lot of questions, and with the auditors, and then after they left, we continued our discussion. We all thought that reserves were a good thing. We didn't really agree with the state audit results at that time. But in this audit, it's a little bit more egregious. That's not a good word, but because back then, the reserves as a percentage of the budget was 30% in 2009, and in 2016, the total reserves were 37% of the budget. So as a percentage of the budget, the reserves has gone up. So, and Dr. Valley, great minds do think alike, because I had written in my notes I was going to recommend that the board meet in a work session after June to discuss the reserves. So thank you very much for your intent on having a meeting. So how much is too much? It's hard to come up with a number because there is no number. But in my opinion, I think that we do have a little bit too much, far less than what the state claims. How much, I don't know, but I'm glad that the board is going to meet, and I hope you have a good discussion regarding the reserves and the function of the reserves. And I would suggest that you maybe come up with some parameters for each reserve fund, and to maybe come up with a range of numbers, a range of figures that would be the maximum amount that you would want to have in each fund. It depends on a lot of factors. It depends on state aid. It depends on, you know, what are the needs of the school district in the future. And I remember when the William Street School capital project went for a vote, they claimed, this district claimed that it was a cost of 45 cents per thousand. And it turned out that it cost $1.59 per thousand. And the tax rates went up for 2 straight years, 8%, 8% in, I think, 96, 97, something like that. And that's when I took my chance to get in the board on that issue, for one. But I'm all in favor of reserves. I'm glad you're looking into it, and I hope I can attend that work session. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Foley. 14.0, future presentations. We have none scheduled at this time. 15.0 is an executive session to discuss the superintendent's year-end evaluation. So I would like a motion to go to executive session.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? So moved. So this effectively ends the public portion of our meeting. Next meeting is May 16th, our annual budget vote and the school board election from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. in the Lancaster High School Java Gym. Please come out and cast your vote and encourage others to do the same. Thank you for coming, everyone. Ooh, we're not adjourned.